Had the privilege of accompanying Robert Kabushenga. Robert Kabushenga is the CEO of New Vision and Vision Group, and he's also a farmer. He's been farming for nearly about 3 years now, so I was able to go to his farm, Ruggiero Farm, which was very interesting and inspiring. So New Vision had an event recently called Harvest Money. So I was not feeling well that weekend. I decided I wanted to stay in and rest, but I sent a couple of the people who work with me to check it out. And they came back with ideas like, oh, Auntie Anne, we need to try whatever, chickens, this, that. They met with Operation Wealth Creation, and they had some ideas of how that could give us a boost. So since I missed, I mentioned to Robert Kabushenga I was going to go, and then I didn't make it, and he said that maybe I could visit his farm. But I was chatting with Robert Kabushenga about his history and how he got into farming.
Meeting in the skies. Meeting in the skies.
You told me that coffee takes 3 years before it harvests.
Yes.
So how did you manage those first 3 years before you weren't able to actually sell the coffee?
That's I've not sold any coffee yet, actually. But like any business, there is what is called investment finance. So you put together money that you use to invest in starting the business, which is really essentially an agricultural startup. So I'm still investing in growing the plants so that they can mature and start being productive after 3 or 4 years. The mitigating factor is that, and that's the economics of coffee planting in this region, is that you plant it together with bananas. So bananas will give you income after 9 months.
Okay.
So you balance between coffee and bananas, which allow you to commercialize the bananas in a much shorter space of time, while you wait for the coffee to turn around after 4 years. So the turnaround and the income from the bananas is what you then use to mitigate or to offset some of the costs. So I have worked it out such that once my bananas are operational, they should be able to cover the running costs of this farm. So that's what it's all about.
Okay.
So that's how you work it out. So once my banana plantation is fully productive, which should be in another 8 or so months, the whole banana plantation should be productive. I should be able to sell a sufficient quantity of bananas to run the farm, or at least 3/4 of the cost of the farm, including the coffee maintenance. If I am very efficient and it works well, it should take away my 3-4 year obligation of providing investment finance and just work off the land. Can't wait for a long period.
Right.
So there are activities which are advised, farming activities which are advised for people who need to turn around their income quickly. So things like chicken, things like piggery, apiary, that's raising bees. Those give you income over a much shorter period. But it doesn't mean that they don't require long-term thinking. They still require long-term thinking because you've got to keep investing in them to make them, pay even more. So you can't just keep taking money out and eating it. You've got to replace the chickens, you've got to invest in their feed and treatment and what. So then there are crops like tomatoes or other sort of high-value vegetables, which are good. They're good for quick turnaround. You get some income, but you've got to still have a long-term view of that activity and say, how am I going to sustain it over the long term? How am I going to make it grow? That requires financial discipline.
Yeah. And from what I've heard and read, I mean, that financial discipline is in short supply. Like, for example, the Youth Livelihoods Program.
Now, there are two problems. So first, you have people with real needs. That is, people who are poor, and they exist.
Yeah.
They're poor, they don't have sources of income, but they have real needs. They have kids to look after, they fall sick, they have to provide a livelihood. Those come under pressure. They are operating in a monetary economy without a monetary income.
Yeah.
So that, the guys are making difficult choices. Some of them are not very well educated, so they are unable to understand the money economy. So we can't blame them for that. We just have to find a way of orienting them and teaching them about the handling and management of money, which is different from people who are just reckless or can't be bothered to work or are looking for an easy life.
Yeah.
Those are gamblers. Now those deserve their fate.
But how do you tell the difference between the two?
The activities they get involved in. Yes. Because you see some people who are honest, hard-working people, they come, they provide labor of some kind, either as, like the man we just met, he's cultivating with his wife and child, but I've given him an extra job to clear the bush for me. That's a guy who needs cash,
Right.
because he has a family to look at. But the guy who's sitting at the trading center, playing board games, and thinking that if he wins a board game, he will make money. If he thinks that that's a source of income, that's a gambler. And he wants to be found working an honest day's hard job. Sorry, so this here is 2 acres of sweet bananas. The yellow ones, the ripe ones.
The long ones or the short
The
ones?
long ones.
Okay.
The one they call bogoya.
Bogoya.
Yes, this is 2 acres of that. I planted this in last year, towards May. So normally takes about, the knife is so blunt to sharpen it. No, the knife back here. So
you said you
you can see
planted
what
these in May and it's now March?
no, it'll be 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years.
Okay.
So this soil you can see is a bit rocky.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I was telling you about. If it's rocky, you once you understand the structure, if you just apply fertilizer, it will just go. And then the crop may not have good nutrition. So what you do is you check, and then you add manure. And if you add manure, it solidifies, improves its biology. So when you put nutrition, the rockiness doesn't affect it. That's why the bananas you have struggled a bit to grow. But if you can grow bananas in Israel, you can grow bananas here.
So Robert, if you're using manure, I don't see cows. Do you have any cows?
No, but I bite.
Hey.
So that pile of manure there,
Yeah.
that is to be applied in this area. So we have to go and buy it from people who have cows, or from there are people who do manure as a business.
So their job is picking up shit and selling it to other
Exactly.
people.
Some of it you guys deliver it yourselves through the toilet system, and it's then treated and sold to us.
Wow.
These are mangoes, but you see, I didn't look after them well, so they're beginning to. So I actually need to have these pruned. So I'm gonna have to come with scissors. Otherwise, I'll end up with
Very spread out tree.
and a completely different variety, because these are grafted trees. Yes, these are grafted trees. So, these are all grafted trees. So I'll need to sort of just take over. So But to prune them, I don't need a knife. There's a different type of scissors that can be used for this. However, I decided to expand the banana plantation into this area. I wanted to remove the trees. The workers told me, no, we need fruits. So I decided to remove the trees.
By the way, I attended this Chinese business conference recently, and they were saying how the Chinese market has a huge and growing appetite for fruit, and that Ugandans should be selling more fruit to China.
Our biggest problem for me, is my assessment, having been in the whole farming thing now for 3 years, is yes, it's good for us to be marketing and looking for places where we can sell our stuff. But there are things we need to fix. Things we need to fix. Our productivity is so erratic, so inconsistent. Today we have crop, tomorrow we don't have crop. Guys do 5-year contracts for supply. Now you produce to this year, the next year you start complaining about drought, and you don't, and the guy is relying on you.
Right.
So yes, it's so good to find these markets. By God, we had better have the productive capacity to meet the demand. That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
No, we are just. Oh dear.
Yeah, that consistency.
With what we need, the discipline to produce consistently every year.
Because if you get in the
a
door,
certain type of quality and a certain type of quantity. Finished.
Yeah.
Then you can talk about, let's go to China. Because you'll go to China once, and then the next year they'll ask you for crop and you don't have it.
And you disappoint them.
Then they won't buy from you again. Because you're unreliable.
Help me with the business math. So you said that for each pit, when we're talking about the yellow bananas,
Yes.
it costs about 15,000 to get it to the point of harvest.
Between 10 and 15.
Okay.
Yes.
And then how much do you actually?
So this
make
morning
off
we've
of
just lost to the storms and the hailstones. We just lost 150 stems.
Multiply by 15,000.
20.
20,000.
Yeah.
That's what it's selling.
That's what the price is. So 20 to 20,000.
is how much money you get out of it?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a
So that's
profit
3 million
margin.
shillings. Gone.
Oh, sorry.
Lost. To the vagaries of weather. So the way you calculate it, one pit will give you 3 bunches a year
Okay.
in the cycle. Because the way we plant, the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter, those are the ones that should give you crops. So in a 12-month cycle, every pit should give you 3 bunches. So every acre has 450 pits. So 450 times 3 is 1,350. 1,350, let's even give a modest price of 10,000 shillings. Each acre will give you 13 million shillings a year.
Okay.
Yes. Minimum should give you. So if you're running a small acreage of 2 to 3 acres, even 1, that's what your income should be. Slightly less because you suffer losses, you eat some of the food and so on, but that's the way it should work out.
Sell from each acre is
You should have 1,350 bunches.
Of yellow
Yeah.
bananas.
No, of matoke.
Hey.
Yellow bananas is bogoya, that's different. This is all matoke.
Okay.
Yeah. So that if you're averaging a price of 10,000 a bunch, that's 13,500 shillings a year. It means in terms of income, you're probably doing slightly over 1 million shillings per month. If you divide by 12, or 1.1. If you take off, let's say, even half of that, okay, let's say 400,000 for your costs. Still have a decent 700,000 shillings net a month.
Hey guys, why don't we meet in the skies? Meeting in the skies.
So this week, we weren't able to see each other in person. I went off and had an awesome adventure at Robert Kabushenga's farm, which was great. I felt pretty humbled to be there. And then Flo was off sleighing, I guess, because the sleigh don't stop. And Simon, you were traveling around, and you're even on the phone at an airport as we speak. But we were...
Yes, I am. Going away again.
Yeah, but we were trying to keep in touch with each other and share, our ideas on this farm
What was
things.
happening?
Yeah. So did you hear? Did you hear how it went for me, Simon? What did you think?
Yeah, I listened to most of them. By the way, I need to disclose at this point that I've been to Robert's farm. I was there on the day he first visited that piece of land to buy it. And I've been there a couple of times. I was there when he was planting the matoke. We've shared experiences. One of the reasons being I am located 2 kilometers away from his farm.
Really? You mean your house, or you have a
Yes.
farm also? Hey.
I have a farm as well. But then, considering what he's done, I can't call mine a farm anymore. Mine
What's
is a garden
yours?
patch.
What do you have out there, Simon?
Well, at this moment in time, I have a little bit of matoke, but it's embarrassing to compare mine to his. I have some cassava growing. I have goats. I have 3 men who are very, very annoying, very irritating. I have 2 cows, or were they 4? I don't even know.
Really? You
Beans,
don't know if you have 2 or 4
vegetables,
cows?
mangoes, avocados. No, that's what I'm trying to explain. How bad a farmer I am, especially compared to Robert Kabushenga.
So you've given up.
What Robo has done, no, I haven't given up. I'm still pushing it, but I'm not investing as much. And it's one of the things that he talked about, remember?
Yeah.
The first conversation he had
Yeah.
was financing. You've got to finance your agricultural project.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we did last year, my wife and I, was we decided to step back and start from the basics. What we've already put in the ground is there, it's running, but we are approaching it more scientifically, putting money together so that we can invest properly in the farm as a business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding full well that there are risks to the business, but then going for the benefits as well, and that includes getting the right human resourcing. We've had 4 farm managers there in the last 5 farm managers in the last 13 years.
Okay.
In the last 13 years, yeah. And some of them helped make money, not as much money as you'd want to make, and some of them lost us a lot of money. Most of them were useless, I can say, because they failed to get the basics up and running. And that's not for lack of investments. I'll tell you, for instance, that we spent a lot of time buying them food. And we kept saying it doesn't make sense for us to buy food for a guy living and working on a farm that's supposed to be producing food.
Right?
Yeah. So we got to a point where now you can only work on the farm if you're capable of growing your own food as a beginning. Yeah. Then we know that you can actually grow food that we can eat, and then we can also sell and get a surplus and so on and so forth. So anyway, what Robert has done, my friend, hats off to him. And he's not just growing food. You know, you started the conversation with him talking about coffee,
Yeah.
which is a commercial crop, and then he leads you to how the commercial crop gives him the opportunity to grow a food crop, which food crop subsidizes the growing of the commercial crop. You see, all that stuff that makes sense.
Well, Flo, do you remember your thoughts on this?
Yeah, my thoughts on this were that youth can't invest in farming in Kampala. They can only do it for their villages.
I totally disagree with that.
We don't own land. We are
You don't
still...
have to own land. And by the way, I've had this argument with young people before, because young people think farming equals crop going into soil.
Yeah.
I passed through South Africa on my way back last week, yeah? And one of the articles in one of the newspapers is about this young lady who dropped out of school, got married, and her parents were very angry with her for getting married, but they were now expressing how proud they were of her because she'd won a national farming award for the farming that she's doing. Now, what she did is when she got married to this dude, who was older than her, of course, they got her school fees and invested her school fees in some urban agriculture project. What were they doing? They put crops in pots on racks. That's urban farming. That's agriculture. But it's clever agriculture.
That's the backyard gardening I talked to Anne about. But the other problem of that is
it's backyard gardening. Wait, but Flo, don't immediately go to what the problem is. First try and see, does it work? Can it make sense?
Yeah, it
Especially
works
in our
depending.
setting in Uganda.
It works depending on, first of all, where you live. Like some of us rent, Simon. We don't have space to go and do backyard gardening.
Let me tell you,
on our land,
so long as you're
whatever.
So long as you're renting, you have space, because that is the whole objective. That's the definition of rent. I'm paying you, the owner of the land, this money so that I use it. Yeah. Now you're not going to put a pot of soil in the middle of your own sitting room and grow beans, right? But surely, even if you're renting a 2-room Musiko, there is a little bit of space on the veranda there. Let me tell you about another lady. I've been about this lady before.
It's all paved. There are pavers all
like
over.
I've told you, there are pavers. You're not putting anything in the soil. You put your pot on top of the pavers. You even get I made for an aunt of mine some plant holders that she stuck onto her wall, her perimeter wall. She has very little space. Those metallic holders get onto the wall, protrude. Then she places her plants in there. So on the wall, she has plants growing. It's like a whole vegetative area. Kumbe, it is paved all the way down there. But I was going to tell you about this young lady who lives somewhere in Bokasa, Kabagala, that general area. This young lady here supplies one of Kampala's top restaurants with herbs and spices. She just walked up to them and offered to supply them because she knew that they were, at that time, I think their chef was French. She figured that you guys need this stuff. This is the kind of thing you cook with. Can I please supply you? And they say, well, okay, bring and we see. Before long, she's their sole supplier of herbs and spices, besides the ones that they grow for themselves. She rents the space she lives on. At least as 2 years ago when I discovered this story, she was renting her home. She wasn't renting like a quarter-acre piece of land. No. Exactly what you're talking about, Musigo, what the same arrangement. But she was making clever use of that area.
By the way, guys, let me step in and say that my mom and sister are big on this. And my mom has like tomato plants, she has oregano, she has mint, she has all these different plants in pots in the house. And then when they get too big, she cuts off some and gives them to my sister. And so they both have small areas, like indoors at the window.
They grow again. Yes.
It's a thing. It's a hipster
you guys
thing.
spend too much time trying to slay. This is the problem.
Oh, burn.
The sled don't stop.
I had to get that in.
But by the way, I think you can both slay and farm at the same time.
Yeah, I said I'll be a slave farmer. But it's not. It's
Hey guys, why don't we meet in the skies? Meeting in the skies.
But it's not something I've thought I'm going. But I can consider it, but I'm going to consider it for my village, not for Kampala.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we all go wrong. Because if you think farming is something that I'm going to do in my village, the reason you're going to fail is you're never going to supervise it. You're never going to supervise it. You're never going to have enough money because now it costs you so much more to go and do that farming in the village, transport alone. Yet, you, Flo, if you got, let me even give you a challenge, and I can supply you the rosemary. Anne knows what I do with plants. If I supplied you 10 rosemary seedlings, free of charge, you could easily replicate those seedlings, and every 6 months make 60,000 shillings. It's not a lot of money, but every 6 months, 60,000 shillings from that first batch I've given you. Selling them in a very nice manner to people who are happy to buy them because, oh, that looks nice. Not just the plant, but even the pots that you eventually get. The farming involves very many different things that we just don't stop to think about. And I'll tell you what, you slay queen, you. all that makeup that you put on, the perfumes, all that stuff comes from a base that relies on farming. You could actually get up and decide you're just going to grow lavender to supply a certain perfumery, which we have in Uganda. And you make a lot of money. So you see, farming, we shouldn't think of farming as like
something.
Kabushenga, coffee and matoke. No.
Yeah.
What am I doing that is agricultural, that's based on agric? And how do I make it make money within my circumstances here, using the little money I've got? Every time I buy like a bottle of some nice drink, I stop and think, if I bought, fertilizer, if I bought more seeds, it always hits me, because I know I'm misdirecting money that could be turned into even more money in just a few years' time.
And Robert Kabushenga told me that when he started planting on that big piece of land he has there, he only had 3 million shillings to invest. And I was telling him, like, I never have more than a couple million at a time, and then it goes away because whatever, I'm waiting for payments and things need to be paid. But he said, no, go for what you can with a small amount, and over time, every time that you think about, paying for whatever unnecessary thing, instead just put a little bit more into the farm. And he has grown so much in a short time. So.
And he's done it in such an organized manner that he keeps on, every time you go, I've been there, like I said, a couple of times, but every time you go there, it looks neat, it looks nice, doesn't it? It looks so nice that you want to go back. Now, if you're the farmer and you've organized your farm the way he's done his, Flo, don't think about being a Robert Kabushenga immediately, no. he's at a different level. When you think about what he feels when he looks at that farm, you can tell that he's eager to go back the next weekend. Because being there is much more therapeutic, much more satisfying than doing anything in Kampala. You see, so it gives him good reason to fuel up his car and go there. My father right now is doing a farming project in Hoima, our place, and he's itching to go. When his car can't start, he's on a bus, and off he goes. He doesn't want to know what you're doing, what you want to know. No. His main interest is, I need to be at the farm and back by Sunday so that we can have lunch. But he needs to be at the farm. And when you see what he's done, that's part of it. He's organized it in such a way that this is what I want to do. This is what I like. Another problem we have with farming is that we consider it to be this dirty, messy thing, mud, disorganized, When your farm is like that, of course you're not going to enjoy it. Yeah? But when you organize it, when you make it neat, then it's even easier for you to convince your landlord, slay queen madam, that you need to do a small farming project right here.
Yeah.
But of course, all this I'm saying is a bit theoretical. One day I'll show you my little backyard gardening that I'm doing, and
Yeah, we want to see it.
We need inspiration direct at the source.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Let's do it in a couple of months. I need to clean it up first.
Well, thanks for joining me in a way remotely on this adventure with Robert Kabushenga at his farm. I've definitely been inspired. I don't know about you, but I'm liking this whole slave farmer idea. I think you take that mud, put it on the face, make yourself a little mask. Something to consider. So
Consider it.
So let's leave it at that. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hopefully you'll try a little something. If you want free seedlings, haha, Simon's a generous man. Go look him up.
Yes. Oh, okay, so we're making offers now. Okay, so I'm offering 10 free seedlings to the first 10 people that tweet this offer.
Oh, you hear?
Guys.
That's 10 free
All they
seedlings
have
to
to
the
do
first
is
10
mention at
people.
meeting in the skies.
Hashtag meetings in the skies. Yeah, you got your free seedlings. Thank you. Have a good
Thank you,
day.
Simon.
Bye.
That has been this week's episode. Thanks to the Skies Hotel Naguru. For more interesting Kabozi, please tune in to Meeting in the Skies next week. See you then.